welcome to the Smile Code Podcast. This is Dr. AC Quaidu, and I'm glad to be with you once again, and thanks for spending your valuable time with me. Today we will continue our discussion on the principles, the rules, and stories that help to inspire and nurture the authentic self and radiate this unique brilliance out through an exquisite happy smile, which allows us to step more fully into our greatness and life purpose and live happier, more fulfilled lives with impact and distinction. This is what I call Smile Mastery, and the Smile Code is the blueprint, if you will, that helps to unlock the state of smile mastery and bliss. Last episode, we looked at the NLP communication model and how our brains input and process information from our environment and how that affects our behavior. It is a feedback loop that is further influenced by filters like beliefs, attitudes, past experiences, and meta programs that helped to generalize, distort, or delete some of the information. The brain, as you may know, receives millions of bits of information at any given moment, and so this process allows only a very select group of data through after the filtering process, which is then what affects our state, our physiology, and actions or behavior. Now today, I wish to touch on the story of Buckminster Fuller and how he demonstrated the unique and interesting relationship between our life goals and life purpose. Buckminster Fuller was one of the greatest inventors and thinkers of the 20th century. And there is an old article written by Stephanie Ralph which summarizes beautifully the relationship between life goals and life purpose. In her article, Ralph talks about a story that his life was once like that of most people's, full of going to parties, full of partying, going to sports games, etc. And he was a bit of a wild lad in the early days. The story goes that something happened that changed his life forever. His daughter Alexandra, who was only around 6 years old, was very sick at the time, and he left the house one day promising to be back soon. But before he left, he promised Alexandra he would bring her back one of the small flags they have at the football stadium, as it was her birthday. But what happened was Buckminster Fuller didn't return home after the football game, and he actually did not return home for 3 whole days, and presumably he was partying. When he finally arrived home, his wife told him not to waste time apologizing to her, but to go upstairs and see his daughter immediately. Alexandra had taken a turn for the worse. When Buckminster Fuller picked up his daughter in his arms and he said hello to her, she immediately asked him if he had it. And he said no, he did not have the flag he had promised. And this disappointment was enough to end her slender hold on life, and she died in his arms. After that incident, Fuller felt so bad. He went for a walk and decided to end his life. But as the story goes, he heard a voice saying something along the lines, "You do not have the right to end your life. It is not yours to end. Your life has a purpose, and you have not yet done what you came here to do." Well, after that, he began to search for the purpose of life. God, the purpose of God and purpose of the universe. He sought to discover what, if anything, could be done by a penniless, unknown man working on behalf of all humanity. First of all, he stopped talking for 2 years. He realized that words had tremendous power, and words had often gotten him into trouble, and he vowed to not speak until he was sure exactly what the effect was and meaning of every word that he used. Buckminster believed that there was a force, call it evolution, call it great spirit, call it God, and this force is intent on making people so successful that they can all live at a standard of living much higher than that achieved by anyone else before. He wanted to know what rules God used in setting up this universe, and he went on to discover what he called generalized principles of the universe. These principles are things that are found to be true in every scenario. And most of these principles are in the form of advanced mathematics, which I will not get into. But if you're interested, you can read his book on called Synergetics. But I will be explaining some of the generalized principles that you can apply to your life. Using these principles, Buckminster believed that you could, 1, make a big positive difference in the world. 2, you could increase the amount of happiness and blessings in your life. And 3, you could fulfill your life's purpose. And we'll look at the first generalized principle that he came up with. And it's a principle called precession. And so we'll look at precession, and it is not procession with an O, but precession with an E, which means movement. Procession means movement in a line, and precession, I will give you a few examples to explain this. What happens when you drop a stone into some water? Ripples go out, right? That is, there's a side effect to the main action, and the side effect can be quite large. And here's an example. Is it possible that the honeybee has a life purpose? And if it did, what would that life purpose be? To pollinate plants, to keep life on Earth going? We wouldn't exist if it wasn't for honeybees. But do you think the honeybee gets up every morning and says to itself that it has to cross-pollinate plants? Of course not. It just does what it does. It goes around collecting nectar to make honey. Precession, this first generalized principle, precession happens at right angles to the direction of motion. It is a side effect. In the case of the honeybee, the side effect is the pollination of plants and the maintenance of life on Earth. So if it's possible that pollination is the bee's true purpose, who else do you think may have a true purpose in life? Humans, of course. So here's the cosmic joke. If the goal was your life purpose and you achieved it, you'd probably stop. But once you stopped, there would be no more precession, no more side effects. And it's the side effect, not the goal, that is your life purpose. Because humans are meant to be in motion. Fuller looked at the fact that no animal have to earn a living. They are just doing what they're supposed to do. And if they do that, then nature and God looks after them. So he hypothesized that perhaps that is the way that is meant to be for us. Maybe we don't have to try so hard to earn a living or to go chasing after money. Maybe for each of us, there is something that we are supposed to be doing. And if we do that, then God and the universe will take care of us. The real fruit of what we are doing would not be so obvious to us because it would be at right angles to the goal that we set. And it would happen as a side effect. So the trick is to set the right goals. And how do you know if the goal we are setting is creating the right side effects? Fuller said that we are not meant to go after money. He suggested that instead we set a goal that adds value. That is, that improves the quality of people's life on Earth. So maybe that's why people like to help each other out. Subconsciously, they know that through doing that, they are achieving their life purpose. So to draw parallels from Buckminster Fuller's story, you set out on a goal to improve your oral health and your smile. That journey creates a side effect, which is increased confidence and inspired action that leads you to step into your greatness and live your life's purpose to its fullest. You know your goal is right because you are adding value and making a positive difference in the world. Well, I think that's enough to chew on and contemplate on for one session. I will stop here. I look forward to reconnecting with you next time. So until then, remember to keep smiling. That definitely adds value and makes the world a better place. If you like what we discussed today, please comment, like, and share it. It would mean the world to me. This is Dr. AC Quadu with the Smile Code Podcast. See you next time.